I'm a flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther. I'm a flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther. I'm a flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther. I'm a flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther. Hey, my name is Tristan, and I'm in second grade, and I asked my teacher to show me an experiment where water curves. She couldn't do it because it doesn't curve. The water always finds its level.
What'd your teacher do?
She just didn't talk to me anymore. All she did was walk away. And I was like, what is this about? What?
That's okay though. For being so young, you're very, very smart. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So keep up the good work, man, and stay flat, okay?
Okay, I'm a flat earther. She couldn't do it. I'm a flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther. I'm a flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther. I'm a flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther. I'm a flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther. Hey, my name is Tristan, and I'm in second grade, and I asked my teacher to show me an experiment where water curves. She couldn't do it because it doesn't curve. The water always finds its level.
What'd your teacher do?
She just didn't talk to me anymore. All she did was walk away. And I was like, what is this about? What?
That's okay though. For being so young, you're very, very smart. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So keep up the good work, man, and stay flat, okay?
Okay, I'm a flat earther. She couldn't do it.
Up for sound bites. This is awesome.
All right, welcome back to Anti-Religious Scripture Study with me, Karen B, and of course, Just Jack, Flat Earth.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Alrighty. So we've just recently started um Devarim, aka the words, aka Deuteronomy. And there's a lot of recap going on because this is like Moshe's last speech to all the people before crossing over the Yarden, aka Jordan, to inherit the land that they've been waiting 40 years to get to because they you know, out of weakness and not trusting the creator, they had to continue to dwell into the land until the first generation of those who left Egypt pass away, excluding um, Yehoshua, aka Joshua, aka the same name as the dude in the New Testament, and Caleb, the dog, Caleb, because they trusted Yah and they were ready to go take it. So they're the only two from the first generation that passed on or continued on, I should say. So before I get into it, I'll just give my disclaimer, just Jack's disclaimer. To the religious, if you believe it's wrong to study the scripture outside of your religion or denomination, if you believe your religious leaders or church fathers are incapable of having inherited anti-scriptural traditions of men, if you've already made up your mind about scripture, including the scripture shouldn't be studied at all, then the stream is not for you. To others, if you are open-minded to others' opinions, if you haven't made up your mind about scripture, if you've been turned off to religion, but believe there's truth in scripture that may have been changed or hidden by religion, if you live according to scripture and like to dig in and discover more, then the stream is for you. We are looking at scripture in the original language using concordances or dictionaries for words, as well as context from a non-religion perspective. We will as well have life experience discussion. We are not here to argue with others about theology or doctrine by the traditions of men, including Catholicism, Christianity, Islam, or Judaism. We will be discussing the importance of origins and show how religions contradict the scriptures. There you go.
All
All right,
right.
the like I was saying, we were doing a recap. The first chapter, leaving the mountain, getting the leaders appointed, Israel's refusal to enter the land because of their fear. And this is what I was recapping of the recap. The wilderness years, the 40 years, the defeat of King Sihon, and then now we are returning to the defeat of King Og. And I was going to show the audience, as I talked to you about this morning, that this is a repeat incidence, telling, I should say, a recap that is easily proven. So, like, if you search for Og, the first mention of Og, it is Numbers 21:33. And if you go there, you can see that it says, and they turned up and went by the way of Bashan. And Og, sovereign of Bashan, went out against them, he and all his people, to battle at Edrei. And Jehovah said to Moshe, do not fear him, for I've given him into your hand with all his people and his land, and you shall do to him as you did to the Sihon, sovereign of the Amorites, who dwelt in Heshbon. And they struck him and his sons and his people till no remnant was left, and they took possession of the land. And you're going to see a lot of the same language that's only 3 verses long, but it's stretched out to, I don't know, 20 verses. So, that's the way the Torah does. It'll give like an overarching statement of a lot of things, and then it'll get into the details. It's not 2 separate instances. It's just the way that they recap. So like it's a retelling. And the reason that they do these things is, the same reason that we repeat things. Like let's say you have a child and you repeat the same thing to the child over and over again. It's because you want that in their memory. You want them to recall it so that they don't repeat a mistake, or they remember the blessing of doing things the right way. Either way. So whenever you're ready, we can start with Deuteronomy chapter 3.
All right. Then we turned and went up the way to Bashan, and Og, sovereign of Bashan, came out against us, he and all his people, to battle at Edrei.
Edrei.
Edrei?
Edrei.
Edrei?
Edrei. Yeah. So this is the same words that we just read: Og, Bashan, Edrei, whatever. So you can see that, and then the quote that was also in Numbers is verse 2. Go ahead.
And Jehovah said to me, do not fear him, for I have given him and all his people and his land into your hand, and you shall do to him as you did to Sihon, sovereign of the Amorites, who dwelt at Heshbon.
Okay.
So Jehovah our Elohim gave into our hands Og, sovereign of Bashan, with all his people, and we struck him until he had no survivors remaining.
All right.
And we captured all his cities at that time. There was not a city which we did not take from them. 60 cities, all the district of Argob and reign of Og in Bashan, and the reign
All right.
of Og in Bashan.
Right. So this is something that was not listed in the first instance, where you got 60 cities here.
Mm-hmm.
And they get, not only do they get into the detail of what they've accomplished, but they also get into the detail in the description of who even is Og. So it gets pretty interesting here, but I don't know if anybody has noticed in King James Version, though, they have this word threescore.
Mm-hmm.
And some people don't know what a score is. In Old English, a score is 20.
Right.
So just to let people know,
They should
that
know
was
this
something.
from studying Abraham Lincoln's speech, though.
Yeah, four score, right? But I mean, I know people that would quote that and not know what they're saying.
Yeah,
They
true.
just learned the quote.
True.
So it's good to know that a score is 20 years.
Yes.
So 2 decades. All right.
All of these cities were fenced with high walls, gates, and bars, besides a great many unwalled towns.
Okay, so when they go to Jericho, that's the famous one. It had a giant wall, and they marched around and took it down. So they have conquered cities with walls before. That's not the significance of the crossing the Jordan and taking over Jericho without attacking the walls. So here they have experience of attacking walled cities. So that's also important to note. Okay.
And we put them under the ban, as we did to Sihon, sovereign of Heshbon, putting the men, the women, and the children of every city under the ban.
And again, the ban is either netting for capturing or putting under exile.
But all the livestock and the spoil of the cities we took as booty for ourselves.
And then and you pointed out the booty word, and
Mhm.
it's a funny choice of words.
Yeah.
It's like our booty.
Yeah.
But if you see over here in King James Version, they have the prey
Right.
for ourselves, which is not quite right either. It's the spoils. It's that which is divided, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I can go over here to Strong's.
It's what's left after you conquer.
Yeah. So in Strong's they have plunder, catch, gather, right?
Mm-hmm.
For a prey, right? Robber, spoil, take away, utterly spoil. And then the root of the word is a house, and the agricultural instrument otherwise used as a weapon. It's called a mattock, and it's the cut of the house, right? So after they've taken over by war, the resources are divided, right? So it's the cut of the house. Not quite booty, not quite prey. But it's what's divided after the war.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And at that time we took the land from the hand of the 2 sovereigns of the Amorites that was beyond the Yarden, from the Wadi Arnon to Mount Hermon.
All right. What happened here? Hold on a second. If you look at my screen, it just says Mount H. I don't know why it cuts it off. Okay, that's weird. It's there. All right. Sorry. Verse 9.
Yeah. Why is verse 9 all in parentheses? Sidonians
Because it's a parenthetical statement.
Okay. Sidonians call Hermon Suryon, and the Amorites call it Senir.
So what they're saying is, from the Wadi Aron to Mount Hermon. Okay, Hermon to the Sidonians is called Hermon, but to Sidon and the Amorites they call it Senir or Shinir. And
So
the
this place has three names?
uh I did some research on this, and it's like every nation in that area called it something different.
Oh,
That mountain.
geez.
Yeah, so it's called the Snowy Mountain, the Plated Mountain because the snow looks like plates. It's called the Two-Headed Mountain, or the Peaked Mountain. It
Huh.
is the highest mountain that you can see from like for a long, long way. It's the highest mountain out there. So, different people called it different things. So, yeah. It's a really big mountain that was known by all the surrounding nations, and all the surrounding nations gave it a different name based on description. So, for instance, Caramon is that same root that is used for put under the ban. It's the collection of capturing, or the collection of exile.
Hmm.
So, same root. All right.
All right.
310.
All the cities of the plain, all Gilad and all Bashan, as far as Salcha and Edrei, cities of the reign of Og in Bashan.
Wow, this is really weird. The scriptures version keeps getting cut off and crunched together.
Hmm.
This is not great for display. I'm gonna close this one and open this one. Sorry, I just wanted to make it legible for people that are trying to read along. All right, verse 11.
For only Og, sovereign of Bashan, was left of the remnant of the Raphaites. See, his bedstead was an iron bedstead. It is not in Rabbah of the children of. Is it
Is
not?
it? Yeah.
Is it not in Rabbah in the children of Ammon? 9 cubits is its length, and 4 cubits its width, according to the cubit of a man.
So a cubit is an arm length. So this is a very big dude. Yeah. The Rephaites are also known as the giant or the healers, right? We talked about this a couple times. So this is allegedly the last of the giants in the area.
Right, because
So Og,
earlier it called the Raphaites
yep,
like giants, right?
yep. So the giants are I mean this area was, the area that they were going through, that they were 40 years traveling into. They I think it was like yeah, they can't go in because their generation's not ready to go in, but also they need to stay here and wipe out the giants. Yeah. I think there was a double reason for Yah keeping them in the wilderness.
Huh.
Now that's an assumption, right? That's my assumption. But it's like he already I think the creator already knows the way things are going to play out, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have our decisions, but he already knows one way or another you're going to take out the enemies of this land. Maybe the original intention was to take them out within a year instead of 40. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, these people were already told to Abraham that these nations are going to be wiped out to give you an inheritance, but they're not bad enough yet. So after a few generations of y'all being, in slavery, then I'm going to bring your people over and wipe them out, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, Abraham, you can wipe these people out, but not yet. They're not bad enough. It's pretty interesting to look at that. But all right, verse 12.
And this land which we possessed at that time, from Aroer, which is by the Wadi Arnon, and half the mountains of Gilad and its cities, I gave to the Reubenites and the Gadites.
Right. So they said, we'll keep fighting with you, but let our children and women and livestock, let them camp out here, and we'll go help you finish the war, and then we'll come back home on this side of the Yarden. Right. That was that whole discussion there.
And the rest of Gilad and all Bashan, the reign of Og, I gave to half the tribe of Manasseh all the district of Argob, and with all Bashan, called the land of the Rephaites. Rephaites.
Yep, aka the giants. Yeah.
Right.
The healers, giants.
So I don't get it. Are the Rephaites good or bad, or are they just? It doesn't really
I
say that
mean,
they're
the
bad, especially if they call them healers. Like, I don't get it.
yeah, but like let's say, okay, I'm just speculating here. I have no idea. I was never there. Okay.
Okay.
But let's say that these are uh partially human creatures. Okay, let's say mostly human creatures. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But they have this innate ability to heal, right? So like they're as far as like surrounding history about the giants, not just Torah, but other surrounding histories about the giants, they were cannibalistic, they were, rape and pillage type deal, and they had like 2 rows of teeth, 6 fingers on the hands and 6 fingers on the toes, and they were not quite human. And if you what would typically be a mortally wounding wound on the giant would not be mortally wounding to them. You would see them in the next battle. They would heal. You know,
Hmm.
they had great recovery rate, is what I'm trying to say. Now, this is all surrounding stories. This is not Torah. This is other surrounding mythologies, if you will, or histories of that area about the giants.
Hmm. Yeah. So the definition in Brown Driver is Rapha, giants, Rephaim, old tribe of giants. That's pretty much all it says.
Yeah,
Giant. Hmm.
yeah. If you look at the root of the name, though, Rapha means to heal, right?
Yeah. Heal, medicine. Mm-hmm.
All right. Let me go the route that you went just now so I can show the people. All right, so I'm clicking on giants, going to Brown Driver Briggs here. I'm
To
going to
heal,
expand the
make healthful.
giants, old
Of
tribe of giants, proper noun.
of God.
Uh, and then in Strong's, it says in the sense of invigorating, right?
Uh-huh.
So if you go to that number, that link, because that's the root of the word, it says properly to mend by stitching, or
Mm-hmm.
figuratively to cure, heal, physician, repair, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go to the
Interesting.
ancient Hebrew, the pictograph is the picture of a head and the picture of the open mouth. It means the man opened wounds, sickness, illness, cured with medicines made from plant materials that were pulverized into a medicinal powder. Um, there's a title of a altar that is Jehovah Rapha, and I don't know if I can find that quickly. I'll take a look if I can find it here. So let's go to first to Jehovah, and then it'll be under those. So Jehovah Yireh is my provider. Nisi, Tsidkenu, Shalom, Shema.
Hmm.
Well, we'll look on another time. I will bring this back next week. I will do the research and show you where Jehovah's called the healer, right? So, but Rapha is, you know, healing.
Mm-hmm.
What verse
Yeah.
were we on?
14.
Okay. But yes, that's the research that you need to do, right? Like, okay, this came from this root. Okay, where did that root come from? It came from this root, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And if you do that just with the Strong's version, right, which is like the introduction to translation would be Strong's, right?
Mm-hmm.
Brown Driver Briggs is typically a little better at it. The ancient Hebrew lexicon of the scriptures is a further one. There's another one, and I can't think of what it's called. It's like All he got? No, that's not it. That's the other book. Dang it. I'll look that up too. There's another dictionary that they say is like the best one. And like just to get a digital copy is a couple $100. But it's just slight nuances different between the Brown Drivers and the Ancient Hebrew Lexicon. So the Ancient Hebrew Lexicon, they already used that book as a reference to get their root words. So it's going to be very similar as the $200 dictionary. That's what I'm trying to say.
Mhm. All right.
All right.
14.
So yeah, so you read 14 or
No, I
you
need to get read.
Okay. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Yair, son of Menashe, had taken all the district of Argob as far as the border of the Geshurites and the Makathites, and called them after his own name, the Bashan of Hawath Yair to this day.
Yeah.
Hawot,
Maakatites.
or is it Havot? Hawat
Yeah,
of Havot,
ta,
Bashan
yeah,
of
Havot.
Havot
Yeah.
Yair to this
Havot.
day.
Yeah. And things like this, to this day, this shows you that this is a um
To what day? Is it still
yeah,
that name though? Like when this,
yeah,
as
exactly.
of when that was written though, that might not be the case right now.
Exactly. As to either when Moshe wrote it
Mm-hmm.
or when it was recorded down after they left Babylon because they had to rewrite the Torah because they lost the language, so they had to rewrite it.
Mm-hmm.
Or is it still to this day called that? Right? You gotta use context, to find out what that means. To this day, it's called that, right?
Right.
Exactly. So I just went to the regular scriptures version because for some reason the parallel is not working. It's like cutting off half words, and it's just very frustrating. So
Oh, okay. And to Makir I give Gilad, and to
very
the
short verse.
and to the Reubenites and the Gadites I give from Gilad as far as the Wadi Arnon, the middle of the Wadi as the border, as far as the Wadi Yavok, the border of the children of Ammon,
Okay.
and the desert plain with the Yarden as the border, from Kinneret as far as the sea of Arava, and the salt sea below the slopes of the Pisgah on the east.
Yeah, and so the Salt Sea is, I think it's called the Dead Sea now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
probably.
yeah.
And I commanded you at the time, saying, Yehovah your Elohim has given you this land to possess. All you sons of might, pass over armed before your brothers and the children of Yisrael. But let your wives and your little ones and your livestock, I know that you have much livestock, stay in your cities which I have given you.
I like that where it's just thrown in. And I know you have a lot of livestock. You don't have to tell me again.
Yeah. Until Yehovah has given rest to your brothers as to you, and they also possess the land which Yehovah your Elohim is giving them beyond the Yarden. Then you shall return, each man to his possession which I have given you.
Right. So this is another instance, like when it's Moshe speaking, when he talks about beyond the Yarden, he means on the other side where they're going to fight Jericho and then the rest of the areas on the other side of the Yarden. However, in the parenthetical statements in the description of where they're at when the speech is given, they call that beyond the Yarden because they're writing from the other side,
Mm-hmm.
looking back. So you can see that there's a narration other than Moshe's account. So yeah, I think that's very important. And they don't point that out well, in my Old Testament studies in the Bible college I went to, they didn't point that out. But it's quite obvious. Like there's a narration put into the 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 Torah reading of Moshe. So, all right, 321.
And I commanded Yehoshua at the time, saying, Your eyes have seen all that Yehovah your Elohim has done to these two sovereigns. Yehovah does the same to all the reigns which you are passing over.
Right. So he's the realm that they're going to pass over to is going to be Israel, right? They're not quite Israel in Israel yet.
Do not fear them, for Yehovah your Elohim himself fights for you.
I mean, that would be a pretty good um idea. If you're going to go to war, have the creator on your side. Yeah, that sounds good.
Right. And I pleaded with Yehovah at that time, saying, O Master Yehovah, you have begun to show your servant your greatness and your strong hand. For who is a mighty one in the heavens or on earth, who does according to your works and according to your might? I pray let me pass over and see the good land beyond the Yarden, this good hill country and Lebanon.
Okay, so crossover is to Hebrew, ever, crossover. And he already was told that he's not going to make it. He's not going to cross over the Yarden because of his disobedience to Yah, at the place that they call Rebellion. They named it Rebellion because of that, right? But
Mm-hmm.
he's seeing like, but it's right there. Like we could cross right now. Let me just cross over, right? He's like a last ditch effort to get over there. All right. Verse 26.
But Yehovah was enraged with me for your sake and would not listen to me. And Yehovah said to me, Enough of that. Speak no more to me about this matter.
All right. So Moshe, when he says for your sake, he's saying it's all your fault that I can't go into the promised land. You people,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. His rebellion
Mm-hmm.
is based on other people. So I know in my experience, there have been times in my life that I was weak in um, my own being, where I said, "Well, you made me do this bad thing," right? I've had that experience multiple times, but this is basically, "Oh, you caused me to do this thing that I shouldn't be doing."
Mm-hmm.
It's a blame game. Goes back to the garden.
All right. Go up to the top of Pisgah, and lift up your eyes westward, and northward, and southward, and eastward, and look with your eyes, for you do not pass over this Yarden. But command Yehoshua, and strengthen him, and make him brave, for he shall pass over before this people, and cause them to inherit the land which you see. And we dwelt in the valley opposite Beit Peor.
All right. So Yehoshua, of course, is Jehovah's our salvation, aka um Joshua, aka the same name as the dude in the New Testament. All right. So we dwell in the valley opposite Beit Peor. If you do not remember, they had this issue with this prophet that was told to curse Israel, and then Yah stopped him in his tracks with the talking donkey, all that jazz, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then that same prophet encouraged the people of Israel to worship Baal Peor, right? The Lord of the Opening, yeah. That did shenanigans with rear ends, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a location that was named by people who worshipped Baal Peor and called this land Beit Peor, which is the house of the opening
Mm-hmm.
or the house of the gap, or it depends on which way you translate it, but yeah, it's the opening. All right, jump over here to chat. All right, let's see. Shout out to Crumb. Nice to see you, Crumb.
Hey, Crumb.
MS, NDB, Joseph Osborne, Aisling7, what's up, Cammy? Daryl Davis, what's up, brother? FE Nation, Boston Ray, Ramon. Okay. Heart Earth, yes, Heart Earth. The caps and the not caps throws me off so bad. Heart Earth, Remy. Forgive me if I'm pronouncing that wrong. J, effed up world. It looks like that's it. All right. Let's see if there's any question. Is it anti-religious to say the earth, the Christos, the living rock, the body? I'm actually having confusion interpreting this. Is it anti-religious to say the earth equals the Christos, the living rock, and the body we all eat and drink of is the body of the earth? So they're saying that the earth itself is Messiah? No, I would not interpret it that way. Look up the other book King James authorized. Yeah, I know there was like one on demonology and one on the occult. Like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of weird things going on with King James. I'm just saying.
We don't, that's why we don't read the King James Version. We don't do
Yeah,
that.
and then NDB is asking about another Easter. I don't know why there's different Easter dates. Yeah, there's I mean, Easter is not even, a biblical practice. It's something that was hijacked from the worship of Ishtar, Astera, the sex goddess of Babylon, known by many different names, the goddess of war and fertility. Um, and different cultures use different natural markers to choose the day that they worshipped her, and then it was hijacked by more modern churchianity religions. So, I mean, that's a lot. I dug into this a lot, like way back in 2012. It's a very it's a long thread that you pull on, and it gets pretty messy. The missing books might make it. Excuse me one second. The missing books might make it all more sense, but I got three. He says three kids, but I'm sure he means children, not goats. I don't have time to go into the caves looking for missing scrolls anymore. My Indiana Jones days are over. That was high school. Just for information, those scrolls that were found in caves, look at the influence of NASA being involved with that. It's very strange. But anyway, the Earth is Jonah's sea monster, and we are the worms that crawl in and out of his snout. Okay. I don't know. I don't know what reference this is, but here we're looking at like scripture reference, so I'm not, yeah, I'm not getting it. Flat with a heart-shaped dome, toroidal vortex, et cetera, et cetera. All right. True on so many things. We quote, repeat that which we don't truly understand without thinking or knowledge. That's purpose of current education system, to program us to do this. Yeah, to regurgitate and not understand. Right. So I'm sure she put this quote when we were talking about the score, the three score, the stack of 20.
Mm-hmm.
King James and other books he actually authored was a book on demonology. Yeah, I said that. Yeah. He wasn't born with the name King James until he was 13.
I don't think this
He,
person caught the disclaimer in the beginning. That's why we do it every show, because we're not
yeah,
really interested in arguing. We're just reading these texts for what they are and translating them just in a pretty raw, sort of unfiltered manner. We just want to see what it says for what it
yeah.
is.
I'm seeing some other quotes in here that they may have gotten from information from a certain video that put a lot of falsities in there and says, "Oh, this is known in Egyptology and history and all that other stuff." But look for the references that they're quoting. There's a lot of nonsense out there about trying to debunk the Bible. Like they will make stuff up. Like seriously. Okay. So
Not really interested in debunking it or proving it true. I just want to read it and see what it says without arguing with people. That's all.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, we're not even really getting into the philosophy of stuff. I mean, other than like looking at stuff and being like, oh, there's some common sense things here that they kind of have taught against within the
And
religious circles of
right.
Christianity and Catholicism and Judaism, and
Mm.
where they'll take the religious spin and just ignore the plain text that of what it says. So, you know, that's the main thing here. So,
All right. We good to
yep,
go? All right. Well,
yep,
thank you.
I'm done.
All right, cool. Yeah. Thank you, everybody, for joining us for another episode of Anti-Religious Scripture Study. We hope you have a wonderful rest of your day and a restful day.
And the
Shabbat.
earth is still flat,
And the earth
and
is
Shabbat
still
Shalom.
flat. Shabbat Shalom.
Shout out to